Breaking down Conor McGregor's latest round of legal troubles and the potential consequences. UFC star Conor McGregor, who last year faces a new round of legal troubles that could complicate his ability to fight in the United States. On Monday, Miami police arrested the 30-year-old Irish fighter after he vomited Abdurzak, a 22-year-old man. McGregor was charged. According to the police's arrest affidavit, both McGregor and Abdurzak left Miami's Fontainebleau hotel at around 5 a.m. Abdurzak explains that he then pulled out his smartphone in hopes of snapping a photo of the famed fighter. McGregor, as Abdurzak tells it, McGregor didn't greet him. Instead, it was obviously too late for Abdurzak to realize that McGregor didn't want him to take that photo. The two men then jostled briefly over possession of the phone. As McGregor tried whether Abdurzak's phone was slapped or punched, one thing is clear: the phone crashed onto the ground. TMZ Sports obtained a that shows a portion of the incident. In the video, although a phone-smashing incident in which no one suffered physical injuries may not seem worthy of felony-level offenses, the law says otherwise. Describes felony robbery as intentionally dispossessing another person of property and accomplishing that dispossession through force or placing the victim in fear. The police charged McGregor has been charged with second-degree robbery, rather than first-degree robbery. This is because McGregor's other charge, criminal mischief, falls under. It refers to witness testimony and video evidence will prove instrumental in determining the accuracy of the descriptive narratives offered by the police and Abdurzak. Assuming those one potentially exculpating explanation would be that Abdurzak invaded McGregor's privacy and had no right to take photos. McGregor could then like other states' laws, Florida law prohibits invading another person's privacy. An impermissible if McGregor leads with an invasion of privacy type defense, he'll probably encounters some difficulties. For one, Florida law permits publication of names and likenesses of persons who are part of any bona fide news report, at least when those reports aren't used for advertising purposes. Bona fide news. To that point, McGregor is likely accustomed to being photographed by fans and other onlookers while in public settings. In addition, the First Amendment to some degree protects the right to photograph celebrities. It guarantees free. There are, of course, exceptions. In 2016, a more relevant exception could relate to the fact that Abdurzak does not appear to be a journalist. Courts have been more. Even if McGregor can persuade a court that Abdurzak invaded his privacy, McGregor's response to that invasion could still be regarded as needlessly violent and hardly a valid justification for grabbing and breaking the phone. Less hostile McGregor's attorneys will also object to the criminal mischief charge. One source according to the arrest affidavit, Abdurzak claims the phone is valued at $1,000. The phone being valued, although the brand and edition of Abdurzak's smartphone aren't unknown, it is obviously a used item and not worth as much as a brand new version. Most brand new. Last July, McGregor's attorneys negotiated a plea deal with New York prosecutors to resolve multiple charges. A few months earlier, among McGregor's New York charges were 2 felony criminal mischief charges. Had he been convicted, by all accounts, McGregor is a citizen of Ireland. This means that McGregor avoided immigration fallout in New York by pleading guilty to misdemeanor disorderly conduct. He was punished with. McGregor's legal team will likely seek the same outcome in response to the Miami Beach incident. Expect them to. Abdurzak has sued McGregor, arguing that McGregor committed battery by holding his arm and punching the phone. Abdurzak's lawsuit is far less important for McGregor than are the criminal charges. The worst-case scenario. The most likely outcome with the lawsuit is that McGregor reaches an out-of-court settlement with Abdurzak. In a settlement, McGregor's conduct could also empower his endorsed companies to invoke so-called morals clauses. These clauses allow. Assist legal analyst. He is also a
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.